Hi, these comments are for KTH. I am Michael from OTC, OnlineToeflCourse.com, and I'm getting ready to evaluate a writing and speaking practice test that you submitted. And let's take a look at the email that you sent me. You say, "Hello, Michael. How are you doing? I think that you feel better than last week." You are correct. You say, "I did not submit my speaking and writing assignments. I did not want you to be busy and tired when you were sick. Attached are my speaking and writing assignments." So thank you for doing that. It gave me a chance to rest and get ahead of the coronavirus. So this week, I find myself in a much, much better situation than last week. So thank you for your consideration. And happy holidays to you. So I'm hoping that you and your family will have a Merry Christmas and also a Happy New Year for 2021. So that is my wish for you, and I also hope that soon enough you will be able to reach your target scores in the speaking and writing sections. Okay, the writing prompt here. Many places students must arrive very early in the morning to attend school. Some people believe that starting the school day early is the best approach to support learning, but others believe that starting the school at a later time in the morning would be better for students. So which view do you agree with and why? And use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. So I'm going to give you a score here of 3.5 out of 5, 22 points out of 30. So when we look at the introduction, in these days, most of the school classrooms have different schedules, and you can combine these two sentences there's no need to have two separate, and you don't want to put a comma after a subordinated conjunction, because schools cannot open they could not physically open. You could put here and you put could, right? So they started opening by virtual classrooms. In this case, most students are taking their classes from their home. I believe the school classrooms should start earlier than later. Right, so my only suggestion here is I suggest instead of 46 words that you create about 100, and then you have a specific thesis which incorporates the key points of each of your body paragraphs. So I've added, in your introduction, I raised the topic a little bit more, and I created a more specific thesis statement. So instead of 46 words, you now have around 103. So let's see some of the changes that are made to your introduction. So education exists so that children and young adults can develop academic and critical thinking skills to prepare them for productive careers according to their interests. The coronavirus pandemic has created additional challenges for students. In these days, most of the school classrooms had different schedules because schools could not physically open, so they started opening by virtual classrooms. In this case, most students are taking their classes from their home. I believe that school classrooms should start earlier than later, since students are more energetic in the morning and earlier classes allow we'll change this to them, allow them to participate in academic extracurricular activities later in the day. So the main thing is I kind of scanned through your two body paragraphs, and based on the purpose of those paragraphs, I created a more specific thesis here. Okay, so if you want to learn more about thesis statements, I want you to go to Google, type in these keywords, TOEFL thesis statements. So I think that's an area that you want to make some improvements in so that you can improve your writing. Okay, so let's take a look at the second paragraph. So students can participate in many activities. How about we'll say additional if their classes start in the early morning. How about we'll put in fact there to kind of emphasize this. In fact, students can join extra curriculum How about extracurricula? I think we're going to make it singular there, such as research and advanced programs when they have extra time. Coming back to my previous example, I did clinical. I'm going to put I did clinical assisting and shadowing in my professor's clinic in the evenings because I had extra time after my morning classes. How about indeed, I learned clinical settings and patient's communication from his clinic because these are the keys of having a successful, let's make this an adjective because it occurs before the noun, of having a successful practice in a private clinic. Operators need to know everything, not only treatments, I'm going to get rid of everything and just put operators need to know not only treatments but also procedures such as insurances and employee benefits. How about the vital knowledge this vital knowledge I could apply so this vital knowledge that I was learning I could apply when I started this vital knowledge that I was learning I could apply when I started my own private clinic. On the other hand, my brothers, who I mentioned, I'm going to put whom I mentioned in a previous paragraph, could not join how about crucial? They could not join crucial extra curricular I need to change that to curricular. So they could not join extracurricular activities after their later in the day classes. So if you say my brothers, plural, right? Yeah, that's throwing me off. It sounds like you're talking about one brother, am I right? He, so then my brother, let me look at what you said in the previous paragraph here. Yeah, brother singular. I got it. Okay, my brother whom I mentioned in a previous paragraph could not join crucial extracurricular activities after you want to put his later in the day classes. He needed to submit his assignments in the evening. Maybe let's give you some sentence variety here. Therefore, he did not have extra time for extra work. For an internship. Then we can put consequently he struggled a lot when he started his career. If his classes, you want to put had begun. We need to use the past perfect here. So you're talking about a present impossible or past impossible situation. If his classes had begun earlier, like my classes, he could have learned new information. And how about by participating in extra projects that helped him for his profession. So I'm not making corrections in every paragraph, but I wanted to make the corrections in this paragraph so you could see some of the problems you're having with your language use. So you need better control over your language use, or it's going to be hard for you to score higher. So ETS uses eRater, a computer software scoring engine, and it's going to look at your writing, and it's going to see a lot of short, simpler type sentences. It's going to see a lot of problems with sentence structure and word choice and verb tenses and so on. So you're going to get a lower score consequently. Okay, so I made changes in this paragraph that you can just see. Right? I also changed the introduction, and I gave you a more specific thesis statement. So the score that I'm giving you on the writing is 3.5 out of 5, 22 points out of 30. So I think if we look at the actual rubrics here, yeah, the 3 area, I think I see. Okay, so addresses a topic using somewhat developed. Your examples were pretty good, right? Connection may be occasionally obscure. You notice in the one paragraph, I added some additional transition words to help smooth the connection between old and new information. So I think you can improve in that area. And also, inconsistent facility in sentence formation and word choice, so accurate but limited range of syntactic structures and vocabulary. So that's why I gave you the score that I did in the writing area. All right, so think about that. So think about some changes that you can make there to help your writing. Okay, so I think I'm looking at my website, right? So I'm going to make some recommendations as to certain areas I think you can study in my online course to help you. I think here sentences with adjective clauses, understanding, who versus whom, those kinds of things. You can probably improve in that area. So lesson number 6. I think lesson 12, word forms. I think this is a good grammar lesson for you right now. Parallel structure, lesson 14. Take a look at that one. And take a look at the lessons on verb tenses so you can improve your language use in those areas. Okay, I think 26 sentence variety and lesson 26.2 sentence variety practice exercises, those are good lessons for you right now. Okay, let me go to the writing part of my course. I'm going to show you some things you can work on right now. Okay, lesson number 1, Toefl independent writing strategies. I think that's a good lesson for you based on the essay I just read. And then take a look at writing the perfect paragraph. I think that's also a really good lesson for you. And then lesson 8, how to make your writing more coherent. So go over those lessons, and then remember, I think the one lesson, I'm not sure if I have it in here or not. Let me look at it. The Toefl thesis statements. I think that's a good one for you right now. I think if you look at lesson number 1, that will show you some good example Toefl thesis statements in different types of writing prompts based on different writing prompts. So I think that'll be good. And then the other one is go to Google and then type in the words Toefl thesis statements. You also sent me an independent speaking practice test, so let me get the rubrics ready here. Okay, independent speaking rubrics. Okay, let me go back to the email. Okay, so this is TPO, TOEFL Practice Online, number 61. So it says, imagine that you must decide between 2 homes to live in. One place is very large and is brand new, but is very far from your place of work or university. The second place is very small and is very old, but you would be able to get to work or the university in less than 5 minutes. Which place would you prefer to live in? Explain why. So this kind of reflects with the TOEFL exam right now. They're making the writing and speaking prompts longer. So they're actually testing your reading skills. You need to be able to look at, in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 lines. You need to be able to read over that, look over that, or listen to that, and then determine how you need to organize your speaking task. All right, here we go.
Personally, I prefer to stay with that place where it's very close to the university and the walk less than 5 minutes because of the 2 reasons. The first one, that the closer places is efficient for my studies. I remember the one I was in the college that my campus is too close to the university. Even these are the small and old. I study in the university until the midnight. I don't have the worry to go back to get the ride. As a result, I have the good grading in the university. Also, the closer places I can save the money. Also, the same university time, I didn't spend any penny for my ride. I can walk to the university the less than 5 minutes. It's support for my the physical exercise.
Okay, so
Personally, I
so
prefer.
notice, I think the problems you had with your language use and the writing, they're also showing up in your speaking, and particularly I'm referring to verb tenses. So you had verb tense issues in your writing. You're also having these same problems in your speaking. So this is an area. So I would spend a lot of time in the grammar part of my course and really go through those lessons, write down those sample sentences, practice reading them out loud, just get more familiar. I think with the structure of the English language, I think that's going to help you a lot. Okay, so if I look at the rubrics here, I'm going to put you at 2.5. I think 18 maybe points out of 30 on this. Let's listen to your practice test one more time, right? So, as I said, I think your score is around 2.5, so you're between 2 and 3, so you have some problems with delivery, language use, and topic development.
The two reasons. The first one, that they're close. Personally, I prefer to stay with that place where it's a very
To stay in that place. What place? You want an older and smaller home that is close to the university. So instead of saying that place, I would restate that idea a little bit more clearly so we know what you're talking about.
close to the university and the walk less than 5 minutes because of the two reasons.
Now, instead of saying two reasons, you could probably state what you think those reasons are. So you might consider using a more specifically framed topic statement in the beginning that around which you can organize the key points of your response. You can have a little bit better, more connected
The
organization.
first one, that the closer places is efficient for my studies. I remember
So say, first of all, living closer to the university is more efficient for me, especially for my studies.
the one I was in college, that my campus is too close to the university. Even these are the small and
Now you're having too many pauses too, so you have some problems with your pacing. So you have to group ideas into thought groups of 4 or 5 stress syllables.
oh, I study in the university until the midnight. I don't have the worry to go back to get the
So I studied until because I didn't have to worry.
right. As a result, I have a good grading in the university.
As a result, I got good grades in the university.
Also, the closer places I can save the money. Also, the same university time.
Now, I'm not quite sure what you're saying, that second point there. You weren't very clear in how you introduced that idea.
I didn't spend any penny for my ride. I can walk to the university the less than 5 minutes.
I didn't have to spend any money because I could walk. Again, you need to be consistent with your verb
It's
tenses.
support for my physical exercise. But
Okay, so yeah, I think that my score is pretty accurate there. So I'm putting you at 18 points out of 30. Let me see if I have. Yeah, what could you do? What can you do right now that's going to help you with your speaking, right? So I think a lot of what you need to work on right now is delivery. That is where it's at. So if you haven't done the pretest yet, you should do that. The diagnostic pretest for vowel and consonant sounds. In the more advanced area of my course, I recommend, um, I think, sentence rhythm, speak clearly lesson 33 through 35. I think that's a really good series of lessons for you. Intonation, lesson 36 through 40, and then thought groups and blending, lessons 41 through 44. So really focus on mastering the content in those accent reduction lessons. I think that's going to be important for you. Okay, let's go to the speaking part of my course. I'm going to recommend some things I think you can work on right now. Okay, master lesson number 1, independent speaking strategies. That is a good lesson for you right now. So really focus on that and look at the example, the model responses. I want you to pay close attention to how I introduce the topics in the model responses that you see. That's where you can make some improvements. And then again, look at the specific detail in the body of those responses so you have an idea of how you can elaborate by being more specific when you present the examples that you use to illustrate the argument you're trying to make. All right? So there it is. So we got it. So based on the writing and the speaking, 22 points On the writing, I think your writing is a little bit stronger. Your speaking is around 18 points out of 30.